This man is wanted by the US government for alleged war crimes. This is a member of the Taliban, and this is Lord Miles, a small YouTuber from England. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be looking into the case of Lord Miles, a British YouTuber who is currently making headlines for being kidnapped by the Taliban. The story of Lord Miles would begin in August of 2021, when he would take a flight that would change the course of his life forever, as Miles was taking a flight to Afghanistan, whilst the country was being brutally taken over by a regime known as the Taliban. It can be debated whether Miles is one of the biggest idiots in the world or simply an adrenaline junkie, but Miles thought it would be a fun idea to see what the nation was like in its final moments before being taken over. This would lead to the 13th of August 2021, when Miles would go on to make a 4chan post to the TRV board, reading, "Decided to pop down to Afghanistan for a few days. Never been before. Just goofing off and soaking in the sun. Seems more peaceful than London to me. Ask me anything." Naturally, other 4chaners questioned the authenticity of Miles' claims. So, in order to prove that he wasn't trolling, Miles proceeded to dox himself by revealing his full name, ID card, and Facebook account. It would also be in this post where he would state that he was only going to stay in the country for 5 days, which should have been a safe gamble, considering officials estimated that Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan, wouldn't be in any serious danger for another 30 days. Miles would also try to form backup plans in case things went south, by putting the label Lord on his bank card, hoping that the Taliban would buy into the whole established titles ordeal, thinking he's someone special with some level of negotiating power. A funny idea that would act as some dark foreshadowing considering what would happen later. The emerging serious threat of the capital being taken over by terrorists didn't stop Miles from making the most of his summer vacation in Kabul, as Miles was having the time of his life, uploading several photos of him trying different foods, visiting landmarks, and just enjoying himself in the city. It wouldn't be long before his posts would start gaining popularity on 4chan, especially after he leaked his identity to the internet, where he would quickly be dubbed the name Lord Miles. But whilst things on the surface seemed fine, this would mark the moment where everything started to fall apart. But before we unravel the tragedies about to unfold, this video was sponsored by Ground News, the world's first news comparison website in the world. As someone who is passionate about staying informed, I can't recommend this app enough. It's an incredible user-friendly platform that provides a variety of features for keeping up to date with current events. Available on both app and website, you can choose your preferred method to break out of your social media bubble and discover new perspectives. My favorite feature is the ability to compare news coverage across the political spectrum. With just a swipe, you can see how the same story is presented differently by different sources. This feature helps you spot media bias and gain a more balanced understanding of the news. Another great feature is the interactive map, which displays how international news stories are being covered across the globe. It allows you to stay informed about global events and develop a more nuanced perspective. If you're curious about your own reading habits, Ground News offers a personalized dashboard called My News Bias, which tracks your reading habits and displays the bias of the sources that you read. This helps you stay accountable and ensure that you're getting a balanced view of the news. For a better way to stay informed about current events worldwide, check out Ground News. Go to ground.news/internetanarchist or click the link in the video description to get a 30% off premium subscription and support independent media outsiders who are working hard to make the news more transparent. But back to the video. Whilst Miles was enjoying his holiday, the Taliban had their sights set on the capital, every day getting closer to an inevitable conflict and war. Things were getting serious, and Miles addressed the concerns to his viewers. Things were getting serious, and people online started worrying about Miles' safety. But Miles would address the concerns of his readers by revealing that he was in a secret safe house located a few minutes away from the embassy. Miles felt that even if the capital was taken over, he could simply stroll the embassy and he would be safe. But unfortunately for Miles, it wouldn't be that easy.
Taliban forces entered the heart of the Afghan capital Kabul today, the culmination of a rapid advance and retaking of control almost exactly 2 decades after they were ousted from power. Fighters were filmed inside the presidential palace after Ashraf Ghani, now the former president, fled the country.
By the 15th of August 2021, the Taliban forces had surrounded the city and were advancing quickly. Miles had front row seats to see a once peaceful city dissolve into chaos. He witnessed the city's economy collapse as people crowded banks in an attempt to withdraw their life savings. He saw car accidents as families panicked trying to leave for safety, and he also saw the Afghan military surrounding the Taliban or fleeing their posts. Miles knew that his vacation was over and decided it was time to head back to the embassy, which upon arrival, he would soon realize had already closed and evacuated. And to make matters even worse, there were no available flights out of Afghanistan. Miles had run out of options, so he decided to make one last stream on Twitch. Miles was desperately trying to keep it together, but the cracks in his psyche were already showing. With a Facebook post reading, "Also, things aren't good for me right now. As I spoke to the journalists about my experience, I actually remembered them. I didn't remember them before. I've emailed the mental health people at Ebora University, so hopefully they can help me. I'm struggling to stand and keep down water. I don't think I'll sleep tonight. I've seen so many dead people. I just wanted this whole thing to be a little clarity thing, where I can explore a weird country, but I've mentally broken down. I'm not sure what's going on right now. My face in the mirror doesn't look right." Luckily for Miles, help was on the way. On the 16th of August, the friendly military personnel reached the safe house and prepared everyone for evacuation. Miles was equipped with a rifle and body armor. With a post reading, "I've met some of the forces, great lads. Flights for RAF are cancelled tomorrow, but I'm working on it. Evac is likely. America took back the airport, but apparently it's been breached. I've been hearing gunshots for a while. Packed just in case." Help couldn't have come at a better time for Miles, as the condition around the airport was hellish to say the least. People were scaling concrete fences and jumping into moving aircrafts. Everyone knew what the Taliban were capable of and wanted to escape by any means. It wasn't until the 17th of August that Miles would give an update to his situation, as he uploaded a video of himself on an aircraft with almost 100 other people who managed to escape. He also stated that he was on a list of people going to Dubai, and just like that, Miles had cheated death and lived to tell the tale. During his time in Afghanistan, Miles' posts went viral. Various news publications had written about him, and his updates on 4chan basically took over the travel board. In less than a week, Miles went from an anonymous 4chan user to a public figure, and over the next few days, Miles was featured in several interviews and dozens of articles were written about him.
I think the first thing that I want to ask you, and the thing that a lot of people are definitely going to have on their minds.
Yes, mate.
What the fuck were you thinking, mate? Honestly, like Afghanistan.
However, he faced harsh criticism for leaking sensitive information that could have led to the death of his interpreter that aided in his escape. He was also called out for taking up resources that could have been used to save other individuals who are now trapped in Afghanistan. To many, Miles should have never stepped foot in Kabul, since his presence only made the situation more complicated for people around him. Miles became a polarizing figure. On one hand, people saw him as a careless tourist that only put people in danger, whilst on the other, people looked up to him as a modern-day adventurer. Miles now had a name for himself and wanted to make the most of his newfound fame. So by January of 2022, he would start his own YouTube channel, with the first video being him sneaking into a tropical resort.
Hey guys, so yeah, if you look around me, lads, I'm on a tropical resort, but I didn't pay for it. I did the Sam Hyde method, where I just tell a story, and somehow I got into this place. So what I do just beforehand is I call up, I go, oh, ring ring.
You would think almost getting trapped in an active war zone would make Miles think twice about traveling, but the truth is, it only made him want to do it even more. He continued to visit several exotic and dangerous locations across the globe. The border between Ukraine and Russia, the Chernobyl power plant, and even an illegal snake-infested island were just a few of the places that Miles explored. Miles also wrote in a book about his time in Afghanistan, and even got Andrew Tate to sign it.
Oh, of course, they probably love everything I say.
Of course, yeah, because you are right.
Incredible. The Taliban are on my side. Unbelievable. Top G, top G. To all the Taliban, I want you all to know Top G loves you too, you know?
Miles shared updates of his travel plans on Twitter and Instagram, gaining thousands of followers on both platforms, and almost 70,000 subscribers on YouTube. Miles was living his own dream. He didn't have to live the monotonous life set up for him after graduation. Instead, he got the chance to go anywhere he wanted. This unlimited freedom and lack of caution would ultimately lead up to some extremely damaging consequences. Miles wasn't the type of man to shy away from or even notice dangerous situations. This becomes very apparent when you realize that he went back to Afghanistan and started direct communications with the Taliban. In a tweet reading, "This morning my friend was late, so I waited by the road. Taliban came up to me and gave me tea and snacks. Then when I left, I saw him offering a seat to an elderly man who struggled to stand. Very kind man, thank you." It hadn't even been a year since Miles returned to the country that he was evacuated from, but this time having tea with a military group that took over said nation. As a matter of fact, he was even able to buy weapons and Taliban merchandise. In a tweet reading, "I rocked up to a group of Taliban today and struck up a conversation. Turns out I can buy the US Army military equipment. RPG is $400, PKM is $500, and night vision goggles is $300-ish. I'm going to the market tomorrow. Could become a good legal business to export." With another tweet reading, "I'm gonna start selling Taliban merch on the 21st with international shipping. Get put on a watch list for affordable prices." On the 18th of August 2022, Miles uploaded a video of him buying black market weapons,
who was previously wanted by the US for 5 years. I'm also going to hang out with the Taliban. Now, you may ask, why am I in Afghanistan? Well, that's a really good question. During COVID lockdowns, Afghanistan was the only country open without a vaccine mandate, so I just went. Hello, my friend. The UN's right there.
The video got over 1 million views and became his most viewed video, leading Miles to wanting to see how far he could take things. His Twitter account is flooded with photos of him and members of the Taliban, and he would go on to visit Afghanistan 4 times in 2022. However, unlikely correspondence didn't come without issues. Miles would have his Instagram temporarily banned, his eBay listings taken down, and was no longer permitted to visit almost 90% of Europe. In a tweet reading, "I posted one selfie with the Taliban on Instagram and have been banned. What a cucked social media. I'm going to create another." And another tweet reading, "eBay removed my listings for Taliban headbands. I called them up and lapped calling them Taliban phobic and discriminatory. They apologized and the listing will be up in 3 days." And another tweet reading, "This is my plan guys for my frozen bank account. Buy up tons of Taliban merch you guys enjoyed buying, resell through my upcoming Shopify store, sustain myself through that until my bank is unfrozen." Association with the Taliban could only end badly. And by early 2023, Miles realized that the hard way. By March of 2023, rumors began to spread that Miles had gone missing. The last time he had uploaded anything was back in February, which was very much out of the ordinary for Miles. He was the type of creator to keep his audience updated almost daily, and now is completely gone offline. What had happened to Miles? Was he taking a break, or did he get arrested? On the 15th of March 2023, a random Twitter account named Taliban Public Relations Department made a tweet that seemed to reveal some details about Miles' situation. "It's with great sorrow to announce that we have lost contact with our beloved brother, real Lord Miles. His last known sighting was in eastern Afghanistan on the 6th of March. We are doing all we can to locate him. The Foreign Ministry has informed the UK Embassy, Islamabad." Looking back at other posts made by the Taliban Public Relations Department, it's unlikely that anything put out is factual, but that didn't stop unsuspecting viewers from taking the claims as fact. In the coming weeks, the Taliban shared several updates on Miles' whereabouts and allegedly sent out a search party. An update on brother real Lord Miles. The snow battalion has been sent to Badakhshan province in search of Miles. They are well equipped and have extensive experience in mountain combat and search and rescue. They will start their search from their base in Faizabad at daybreak. Eventually, they claimed Miles was found, but if that were true, then it would only make his situation even worse, since he was now in the hands of one of the world's most ruthless military organizations. With a tweet reading, "Salam alaikum brothers and sisters. We hope this tweet reaches you in good health. Some of you are still inquiring about Lord Miles. The department assures you that he's in perfect health and will soon reappear on social media. He will have many surprises for you guys." By the 2nd of April, several news organizations had begun reporting the tragedy, and it was allegedly confirmed that Miles was indeed in Afghanistan and was being held by the Taliban alongside 2 other British citizens.
3 British men who have been detained by Taliban secret police in Afghanistan. One of those being held is thought to have built up an online following by visiting dangerous places, while the other 2 are understood to have been arrested during a raid on accommodation used by foreign aid workers.
Miles's unfortunate circumstances sparked a viral discourse between people who saw him as a dumb tourist that enjoyed getting into dangerous situations, and others who saw him as an individual who were concerned about his well-being. Suspicion around the Taliban's claims of taking care of Miles was apparent. People aren't going to trust a militant group responsible for the death of thousands to treat a potential spy with any level of care or remorse. In little over a year, Miles had gone from a no-name 4chan user to a viral modern-day adventurer with little to no sense of fear. The 24-year-old had been to an active war zone, deadly island, and sites of nuclear disaster. Miles's new lifestyle had brought the excitement and novelty he desperately craved, but also potentially is costing him his life. The situation is constantly evolving, so make sure you subscribe, as if there are any updates, I'll share it to my community tab.